Hi, thank you for stopping in today to learn a little bit about the Summer in Cyprus Digital Currency and Blockchain program. My name is Matt Spors. I'm actually the enrollment manager here for the University of Nicosia's Global Semesters programs. I essentially work with all of our students from pretty much this point where you're just starting to learn about the program all the way up until your point of where you actually leave to go on the program in Cyprus. The structure of this is going to be as follows. First, I'm going to just tell you a little bit about the summer program, what it entails, tell you about the courses, and then I'll go ahead and share my screen, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about Cyprus. I do know, as an American student who actually studied abroad in Cyprus, that it's not the most well-known location for our US students. So again, I'll give you a little bit of an introduction into Cyprus. I'll tell you a little bit about our university, and then I'll tell you a little bit about just some general programming information, such as some trips that are included, some information about housing, and all that good stuff. So the Summer in Cyprus Digital Currency and Blockchain Technology Program. Obviously, it's a summer program. The program runs from mid-June until mid-July. And it's for any student that is interested in developing a foundation in blockchain technology, cryptocurrency, digital currency, where it came from, how it works, things like that, and the applications that are beyond currency transaction and storage of value. So the program itself consists of two different courses. The one course is the actual course that is specific to digital currency and blockchain technology. It is a 3-credit course. The title of it is Special Topics in Business, Digital Currency and Blockchain Technology. The course itself is a foundational course, although it is a 400-level course. You do not need to have any sort of background in coding. So again, this is a foundational course. It is a pretty intensive course. This is definitely for the student that wants to learn a lot about digital currency and blockchain technology. We are a great university to be taking this course from. We are very well known kind of in the area of digital currency, our university is. So we have a lot of firsts. We're actually ranked #1 in the world for digital currency and blockchain technology. We were the first to offer a course in the topic. We were the first to offer a degree. So we do have a master's degree in digital currency and blockchain. We are the first over a decade to accept digital currency for our tuition. So we accepted Bitcoin for tuition over a decade ago. So we are a very well-known university in the area of digital currency and blockchain technology. So it's definitely a great place to get that first, kind of understanding of digital currency. The second course that goes along with this program is more elective based. So since this is a business course, I know we do have a lot of business students, but that is not, kind of the only area where we get students for this program. We also get a lot of computer science students, and then some students who are just generally interested in the topic. So some of the other courses, the other elective courses that you get to supplement this with. So again, it's a 2 course program. So the other course options, one is marketing. So it's international marketing. Another popular one is European cultures, photography, and then history of art. So again, you are taking that first course, which is the 400-level special topics in business, digital currency and blockchain technology, and then you're supplementing it with that second course as well. So that's a little bit about the program. Some other important things to note about the program. The specific dates for this summer, for summer of 2023, it will be June 19th until July 17th. If you're looking for a future summer program, those dates do change a little bit, just depending on which way the dates fall, for the Monday through Friday. So if you are looking for another term, just check back in with us at a later time. But again, June 19th till July 17th is this summer program. Our application deadline, it might be a little bit later than your school's application deadline. So if you haven't talked to your study abroad office yet about applying to go abroad, definitely do that. But our final deadline to apply is March 15th. The cost for the program, it's $6,300, and I will go over some of the things that are covered with our program fees. So that right now, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and tell you a little bit about Cyprus itself, why Cyprus is such an interesting place to be in the summer. Full disclosure, I still live in Cyprus every summer because it is a great place to be. All right, so everybody should be able to see my screen now. So Cyprus. So for those of you that don't know, Cyprus is a Mediterranean island. It's to the south of Greece and Turkey. A lot of Americans, if they know about Cyprus, they think that it's a Greek island, and understandably so. Culturally, Cyprus is very Greek. They speak Greek. They eat a lot of Greek food. They drink coffee till like midnight, like the Greeks do. But it is a sovereign country. It's part of the EU. They use the euro. It's also a former British colony as well. So it was British all the way up until the 60s. So because of that, a large majority of the population speaks Greek as well as English. Areas where our students typically find themselves, such as the capital of Nicosia, where our university is located, the other large cities, the beach towns, things like that. English is very widely spoken. From personal experience, it's hard to come across a good amount of people that don't speak English. So it's very easy to get around. It's very easy to meet locals. It's very easy to ask for directions and things like that. Cyprus is a very popular destination in the summer for Europeans. The reason being, first of all, it's the safest country in the world. It was ranked the safest country for 15 to 29-year-olds by the World Health Organization. But also, it's a beautiful place. It's the sunniest country in Europe. About 20% of the top beaches in Europe are actually found on the island. So for those three reasons, it's a very popular destination. We have about 12,000 years of cultural heritage on the island as well. And what's unique about the history of Cyprus is that it's the history of a lot of different groups of people. Because of where it's located and the fact that it's just a smaller Mediterranean island, there has been a lot of different rulers of the island. So pretty much throughout human history, it was an important route for whoever was kind of in charge of the Mediterranean or more broadly Europe. So you'll see things that you might expect with that Greek heritage. You'll see ancient Greek architecture. But then you'll see ancient Roman architecture, Venetian architecture, British, Ottoman, and many other groups represented on the island. And you do get to see a lot of this architecture that still, again, exists to this day, which is pretty unique. Cyprus as a whole is pretty cosmopolitan. This is especially true of Nicosia, the capital. The city has about 300,000 people. The downtown has a lot of hustle and bustle. So what you would expect in, a small, medium-sized U.S. city. The downtown, like I said, lots of hustle and bustle, lots of shopping, things like that. The further you get away from the downtown area, and obviously the closer you get to the beaches, you catch a lot more of that Mediterranean vibe, kind of that island atmosphere. People are very friendly. It happens to me all the time when I'm there. Somebody will start a conversation, they'll ask where I'm from, and they just have so many questions. They're very friendly and hospitable. And there's also kind of this like island time where if you're going out for coffee or you're going out to meet a friend for lunch, it's common to show up like 10 to 15 minutes late. Again, kind of that laid back feel of the Mediterranean. Cyprus is also a very cost-effective location to study abroad. Whenever I'm working with students and we're talking about budgeting for food costs and personal transportation, I really tell them to budget as if they were here in the States because the cost of living is very comparable, which isn't always the case for popular U.S. Study abroad destinations in Europe. Again, I touched on Nicosia. A couple other quick things about Nicosia. About 40,000 students are in the capital. So over 10% of the population of the city are college students. So by no means is it a college town, but the city is definitely accommodating to its students because there's a lot of them. There's over 1,000 restaurants, a very vibrant social scene, as well as a very vibrant sports scene as well. There's actually 2 professional soccer teams that play on the island. We were ranked last year by Lonely Planet as one of the top 10 cities to travel to. That picture on the left is called Freedom Square. It was designed by a very famous architect, Zaha Hadid. It was actually the last design that she had ever made. That actually connects the old city on the left and the new city of Nicosia on the right. So essentially on the left, you'll see pictures like the doorway that's pictured there. It's kind of that old and kind of like rustic feel. The roads aren't paved. They're, kind of stone roads. And then on the right, you have the modern city, the places where a lot of our students hang out. You have a lot of the shopping, a lot of the new like restaurants and cafes and things like that. A little bit about who we are at the University of Nicosia. So we are the largest university in Southern Europe that teaches primarily in English. We're ranked in the top 250 universities in Europe, top 3% of universities worldwide, about 14,500 students at the university. And our university system is actually more similar to an American system rather than a European system. Because we're a private university, we actually predated the first public university by over a decade on the island. So we got our accreditation first from the US. So we are on a 4-year bachelor's degree program with 2 semesters a year, which is obviously not typical for a European university, which makes it really easy to have courses evaluated, but then the courses also feel very familiar as well in their structure. Again, leading programs you could see there, as I mentioned earlier, blockchain technologies. Very, very strong at the university. We are very, very research focused as well. I know this is a summer information session. If anybody does look for a semester program, we have over 400 courses taught in English. And kind of a benefit to the semester program is that you're actually getting to take the courses with the local students and the other international students as well, which is pretty cool. A couple other quick things about rankings. Again, top 3% of universities globally, top 800 universities in the entire world. We're number 1 in business and economics in Greece and Cyprus, top 100 in the EU, and again, top 250 in Europe. I'll skip over a couple of these slides because these are not about our program that we're talking about today. Okay, so going into what's included with your program. So it's important to note that the 2 major things that are not included into the program fees that I'd mentioned are your food cost and your flight cost. So there is no meal plan at the university, but there is a ton of different food options. In the residence that we use, there's a kitchenette, so you're able to cook for yourself. It's all fully furnished. There's restaurants, there's places to grab gyros or pizza or anything like that. So it is very easy to find food, but there is no meal plan. And the flight, obviously, we have students traveling from all over the country to go on our program, so they book their own flights. So what is included? Your tuition, your housing, which I'll show you the housing in a minute. I'll argue that this is the nicest housing. It's study abroad. They are luxury accommodations. Our 7-city tour, these are weekend excursions that they do not coincide with your coursework. None of them are mandatory, but I definitely recommend going on them because they are a lot of fun. Some of them are full weekend trips with hotel stays. And again, I'll touch on that in a little bit. We have coordinators on the island that are just there for our US students. We do not share them with anybody else at the university. They are there from the second that you land. They are your point of contact. They do our orientation on the ground. They do actually go on the 7-city tour with our students. If you need anything, if you need to find a doctor or you get locked out of your apartment, anything, our coordinators are there to assist you. I do a lot of the pre-departure advising as well. And the other thing that is included is a local cell phone, which is really, really useful. It's a great way to keep in touch with our coordinators as well as the other students on the program. We lovingly call this a burner phone because it's not a smartphone, but it is a great way to call or text the local, the other students, the program coordinators. It's a penny a minute to call, and it's free to text. So it is a great resource. So you don't need to bring a smartphone with you or like your cell phone or get an international phone plan, I should say. A lot of students will bring their cell phone from home and just turn off their data and use the Wi-Fi because just like in the States, there's Wi-Fi everywhere. Regions of Cyprus. So quickly, I'll touch on some of these trips that we actually get to go on as part of the 7-city tour. So, of course, the first thing we do is we like to show you Nicosia. We get to show you where you're going to be living. We show you the university, the neighborhood, and then we go downtown because, again, students do spend a lot of time downtown because there's just a ton to do. Limassol is another day trip. It's the second largest city on the island. So it's full of both, industry, but also history. So it's a really nice day trip. Anytime that we're going on a trip that has some sort of cultural or historical significance, we actually bring a professional guide with us who is incredibly knowledgeable about everything in Cyprus. So it really enriches the experience because, you're not just walking around taking pictures of things that you're not sure what you're looking at or why you're looking at it. It might be beautiful, but you don't really know what you're looking at. The guide is there for that reason, to really give you the history and the background to understand what you're seeing and why why we're showing it to you, why it's important. So that's Limassol. The other place that we go to, another day trip, is to Larnaca. This is actually where the major airport is located on the island as well. So this will absolutely be the first place that our students get to travel to. Larnaca is beautiful. As you can see by the water, it's on the coast. The Cypriots have a lot of beautiful beaches. So a lot of them won't go to Larnaca to swim because there's other spots. But personally, for me, one of my favorite beaches in all of Cyprus is actually in Larnaca. So like I said, the airport is located here. So about maybe less than a mile from this beach is the airport. So you can hang out on this beach and watch the planes literally fly right over you to land. I hang out there all the time. It's a great time. But there's also a lot of history in Larnaca and a lot of really cool things to check out. You won't see this picture in the summer, that's for sure. So this is a salt lake in Larnaca. It's part of the migratory path of the flamingos. But in the summertime, this salt lake dries up and it's literally a bed of salt. Still really cool to see, but again, you won't see the flamingos at that time. We also visit the Church of St. Lazarus on the trip to Larnaca. And then another one of our day trips is to the Throdos Mountains. It's so steep, in fact, that it does get snow-capped, even though Cyprus doesn't get all that cold. We do a really cool day trip. It's a hike through this nature preserve. We stop at this. There's a winery here. Cool places to grab food. It's a really beautiful place where you'll get a lot of beautiful pictures for sure. And then Kyrenia is a port city in the northern portion of Cyprus. It's another day trip that we go on. And then Paphos is a weekend excursion. So we have two of these weekend excursions where the hotel stays are actually included into the program itself. You'll have a lot of free time on these weekend trips. There's things that we plan out, like for instance, when we visit Paphos, we visit Aphrodite's Rock, which is Greek mythology says that Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, was actually born from the sea foam in Cyprus. And then we also visit some ancient mosaics. But again, for the most part on these weekend trips, you have a lot of free time to just explore, check out the beaches, check out the town. The same is true of Ayia Napa. This is another beach town. If another trip as well, that it's a weekend excursion with your hotel. We usually stay on the water or very close to the water on this trip. It is a definite favorite for our students in terms of the different trips we go on. It was ranked one of the top 5 beach towns in Europe almost every single year. It's very popular. There's things to do at any point in the day or night. And of course, there's just beautiful beaches everywhere. And Famagusta is a spot that we visit on our way to Ayia Napa. It's actually a ghost town where you get to learn a ton of history about Cyprus and about the ghost town of Famagusta. Potaras is another beach town. It's actually on the other side of the peninsula from Ayia Napa. It's where a lot of the families will go. So Ayia Napa is a little bit for the younger people. Potaras is more for the families. And then lastly, this is Nisi Beach. This was actually the most Instagrammed beach in the world a few years ago. And of course, it's in Ayia Napa. It's a spot where our students definitely like to check out during their time in Cyprus. And then just for reference, this picture is kind of an aerial shot of the university where it's located. I'm going to point out a few buildings of interest. These bottom 3 buildings were the first 3 academic buildings built on campus. A lot of the lecture courses do take place in these 3 buildings. There's actually 3 buildings right here. One is right here. This large one is called 6, and then there's one to the right of that. These are our residences. This is where our study abroad students live. It's also where a lot of the local students live, as well as a lot of the other international students, not just our American students. So as you can see, it's very close to the main area of campus. Further down this road right here is the engineering department and the medical school. It's very centrally located. Right here is a 2-story mall. On the right, it's a huge grocery store. On the left, there's a huge Home Depot type of store, and then all sorts of different shops on the inside of that mall as well. In general, when you're at the university, when you're at your residence, you're about a 5 to 10 minute walk from anything that you need in your day-to-day. Pharmacies, banks, cafes, restaurants, the university, gyms, things like that, all very, very close. You do not need to take public transportation during your day-to-day. Students do take transportation to get downtown. It's about a 10-minute ride via taxi or by bus, and it's very inexpensive to do that. By bus, it's about €2. And with your student ID, you literally can go anywhere in the entire city for €2 on the bus. And then by taxi, a lot of times students will take taxis when they're traveling together and to just split the cost. So it comes out to being about the same price as well. So it's a very cost-effective way to travel around the city. And then the housing. So the housing, they're all single studio residences. These are renderings. I'm actually going to open this up and show you a picture of the housing because it looks a lot nicer in reality. So go down to housing here. So this is 6. This big one is 6. This is triangle right here. So they're all single studios, like I said. So you've got your own bedroom, bathroom, balcony, kitchen area. They're all fully furnished. You don't need to bring things like pots and pans or dishes or linens or anything like that. It is all ready for you. There's different amenities in the room, in the apartments, in the residences, study rooms, game rooms, TV rooms, gyms. They all have their own gym, which is awesome. There's a little cafe at the bottom of 6. It's actually not little. It's a pretty nice cafe in general. And then there's also a little mini mart at the bottom of 6 as well. So again, there's a lot of amenities in the housing for our study abroad students. Here are some of the other amenities. I listed most of these, but you do have your own TV, your individually controlled AC and heating unit, and again, all sorts of other amenities. If you do decide to go for a semester, you do not need to get a visa as long as you have a valid US or Canadian passport. But as a summer student, because you're not there for 90 days, you also don't need a visa anyway. And then just the last thing I want to mention, we do have a lot of students who will ask us, once the program's over, is it easy to get to continental Europe? And it is. It's very inexpensive to get to continental Europe from Cyprus. These are some of the locations where our students typically travel to. Our students find very inexpensive flights all over Europe. So if you want to do some travel before or after your trip to Cyprus, it's very, very easy to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and unshare my screen now. Thank you all for stopping in. If anybody does have any questions and you're listening to this, again, my name is Matt Spores. I'm the enrollment manager here. My number is, if you'd like to call me, 212-321-0921. Extension 1. Just click, that's the admissions line. It'll ring directly to me. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions, and thank you again for stopping in today.